Hello, UCR. What's your favorite scary movie?
Is Tamara home? Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Uncensored Horror. The three of us together, the three strangest people you've ever met. Anyway, we're here. We're back. We are ready to talk. We're summoning the OG three powers of Uncensored Horror because it's time for slasher territory. We love a slasher. We all know that we love a slasher. And we are going to probably look. I'm gonna expose my cards nice and early. Probably one of the best modern day slashers, if we're honest. But anyway, how are you? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? My luscious serial killer Luke, how are you?
Actually, speaking of dying, I nearly did yesterday. So we decided to clean. I don't know how relevant this is to Uncensored Horror. Was doing my yard right, and like loads and loads of like palm fronds and stuff to the dump in like 38-degree heat. So I actually had like a little mini stroke, and I've decided now that I will be much nicer to my dogs because they were trying to revive me. Like they were getting water and stuff and like rubbing it all over me, and I'm like, oh, they actually care. So maybe I should
Yeah,
too.
you
Yeah.
should be nice to your animals.
Oh, I
Katie, your
should.
animals were trying. Katie's animals were trying to scare the shit out of her when she was watching.
Yeah, quite
this movie.
opposites. My animals don't give a shit about me. They have decided quite early on that if I die, they're just going to eat my body. So whatever, it is what it is. And
Well, that was my very real fear too, Katie, that they were like if I collapsed during like having my stroke, that if I split my head or something, they'll be like, oh, food. But
yeah.
no,
Well,
they were actually genuinely concerned, it seemed.
Well, I was telling my handsome friend Steve here that I always knew this is a scary movie. I forgot how friggin' scary this movie was, and Kurt Russell.
Have we told the audience what it's about? I mean, obviously they know from the title of the show.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
Kurt Russell says this is one of the scariest movies he's ever seen. And if McCready says it's scary, it's fucking scary. So
The McCarthy agrees. So, yes, we will not bury the lead any further. Today, ladies and gentlemen, ghouls and goblins, killers and scream queens, we are discussing 2008's The Strangers. I can't believe it's that long ago,
okay,
to be honest with you.
You have to use that shot.
I have to because that's the moment where shit hits the fan for me. We will talk about it.
And that shot is where my cat started meowing at the door. So I'm watching. Okay, so I'm just spoiler alert. I'm watching this movie in a dark, empty house. No one's home but me and the cats, and they're starting to meow at my empty. The door's open in my bedroom, and the cats are meowing at the door. And that's the scene that they started meowing at. So
yeah, of course they do.
Like I'm done.
Ain't no stranger danger when they see it.
Yep, done.
They
and they're gonna eat my body. And they're gonna eat my body, and that's it.
So as we were saying, The Strangers is a 2008, my god, psychological horror movie written and directed by Brian Bertino. Now, this is one of those movies that is inspired by real events. Now, this is the first installment in a series, and we'll discuss that a bit later, which is why we're starting to do this now. But the movie is inspired by, of course, the Manson Tate LaBianca murders and a series of break-ins that occurred in Bettino's neighborhood when he was a child. It's also got some similarities to the Katy Cabin Mountain murders. So there's a little bit of reality soaked into this strange story of killers and now I saw this at the movies. I saw this at the movies first time, like in 2008. I was there. I witnessed it. and I think, did you guys go to the cinemas to see this when it came out?
No,
I think I did.
no.
I can't remember. It's been so long. But, rewatching this, you notice just like a whole lot of genre references. Like, I don't want to spoil it, so I guess
Talk about it when we get there.
well, some things I can bring up, like the neighborhood houses were created to look like some famous horror houses like Amityville, just to name one. And there were some other horror references, and we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But this is
We'll
really
get
one of those movies where it's scary because it's realistic, but it's also scary because it's pulling from some of the scariest moments in other scary movies.
Definitely.
And
It's
doing it very well.
taking it back to the streets like Halloween did all those decades ago.
Mhm.
Taking the horror out of, this was the generation of many Saw sequels and all that kind of stuff. So we were not really thinking about our literal own backyards when it came to horrible things happening. And this movie, I think anyone who's seen it will tell you that it is a scary movie. I think this is one of those ones that gets you right in the backyard because
Well, it definitely embodies that
happen.
sense of dread.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that
Yeah.
real sense of dread throughout the film because you just know it's going to get worse and it's already bad. So,
I mean,
I think home invasion horror hits differently, right?
yeah, because it's so real. It's not one of those like possession monsters where it's like, oh, like that's never gonna happen because like
Zombie
you feel
serial
like-
killers. Yeah.
Right, it's not. It's you have to take yourself out of it to make yourself feel scared. This you have to like convince yourself it's not gonna happen. Maybe it's not gonna happen. Like
Yeah,
statistically, it probably won't. But things like, let's be honest, like, we know the crime rate here right now, Steve, is really high, and it is home invasions right now. And,
Yeah.
like, people stealing cars and things. A doctor just got stabbed during a home invasion.
Look at
So
the
it's like,
it looks like your own backyard. It looks like your house. It looks like your parents' house. It looks like
I
grandma's
was
house.
yeah.
It's very
I was a
homey.
bit taken because I've just spent so much time near where you are, Katie, driving around going, oh, I like
Bite your
watching it last
fucking
night.
tongue. Bite your
Watching
fucking
it
tongue.
last night, I was like, this is like I can relate. I can
Yeah.
relate to this. Yeah.
It's
And,
scary because it's a very real scenario.
I watched the unrated version, so there might be a couple of little extra scenes in there. It's the only version I watch now because it's the version I own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
So,
don't think
there's
I
a
watched
theatrical
the unrated
cut.
Yeah, I don't think
But,
I watched the unrated version. But
It's got a few extra scenes and it makes it a bit like, oh okay. So
Didn't need to watch
yeah.
it to make it scary. It's okay. It's okay.
So the Strangers follows a couple in distress, James Hoyt and Kristen McKay, played brilliantly by Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler. This movie, I think, could have gone a very different way had it not been in the hands of these actors. I think that they both did an amazing job at not only the horror aspects, but that whole fraction relationship moment. That the beginning of this movie is so uncomfortable, but for another reason. Yet, like they're that whole they've returned from a wedding and he's proposed to her and she has said no. This all like unfolds in the first 20 minutes or so of the movie, but that uncomfortable vibe is there straight away. Pretty much, you're like, I mean,
I
we
think
get
you're right, Steve. Like, if we didn't have brilliant performances, this story wouldn't have flew. Like, it needed solid performances behind it to get it off the ground.
Well, I think makes it so tense is because you can tell they still very much care about each other, and it's heartbreaking because neither of them want to hurt each other.
That's what I just said to Katie. Like, I've literally just finished. We're doing a double recording today, so I've just finished the second movie. Like, I've been on an emotional roller coaster. I need a moment to calm down. So talking it through is going to be good. So they are staying at James's uncle's house, I believe. Or no, James, their family, his family
It's
home.
James's parents' summer home.
Parents, yes. So they're staying there after the wedding, and he thought it would be a big romantic moment. So there's champagne and rose petals everywhere, and it's just kind of awkward. It's just so awkward and like painful, and he's like, oh, okay. So James calls his friend Mike to come and get him in the morning. And this is all happening at 4 a.m. Like, I remember watching this movie the first time, and when we went back to watch it tonight, like this time, like, oh my God, this is a really long movie. That's right. It isn't, though. But it's because once it starts, it gets you to that tension point really, really quickly, and kind of like edges you for the whole movie. So you're like, oh my God, this feels
it's a little bit exhausting to be on edge for that long, isn't it?
It is. And I was like watching the time, I like purposely looked at the timing, because I was like, I remember this being a long movie just because of the psychological state it puts you in. You're like, oh shit, pretty much straight away. And the fact that it happens at 4 a.m. as well. You're so close to daytime, but yet so far away.
Yeah,
Like, it's just that really that creepy hour of the nighttime.
It also kind of makes me wonder, where was the wedding? What time did it end? I mean, like, not for nothing, but my bedtime is solidly 7:30. So what time did that end? What time?
I think there's supposed to be
when people go to a wedding reception, like they party through the night. And, people, especially people with lives end up like, socializing and stuff into early hours of the morning. What's they might have been staying, exactly, right? This is it for us.
Socializing, what is that?
But yeah, like maybe the wedding was an hour away even. They had to get home then after the wedding.
Oh, okay.
There's not much socializing in this film, but that's okay.
No.
So James and Kristen go on this little kind of emotional roller coaster that kind of leads to that. It's like sad breakup sex that they're about to have. It's like that.
That's
unhealthy band-aids for that relationship.
He gets cock blocked in the worst way.
Sure does.
Worst way by a knock on the door.
God damn it, Tamara.
And a blonde girl in the shadows asking, is Tamara home? So they dismiss her, and she wanders off into the darkness, which is, creepy enough as it is. I wouldn't answer the door at 4 o'clock in the morning, just quietly.
Well, you would though, if there's bang, 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 bang. Like, you probably would, because you don't know if it could be the police, could be anything. Like,
no, fuck that. Wouldn't answer.
Well, the police would say it's the police. I would assume
that. No, at 4 a.m.
A killer would say it's the police too if they wanted you to open the door.
At 4 a.m. I'm not answering shit. If it's that, you'll come back at a normal hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah.
So,
and if you ask Jeffrey, the Ring doorbell will take care of it.
Right. Yeah. So James is doing his heartbroken male thing and wants to go and buy a pack of cigarettes for Kristen. I'd be saying you can fucking suck on the end of the dick, you bitch, for saying no. But anyway, he even lights a fire for her so she's comfortable and rah rah rah, and leaves her.
And she said
alone in the house. Now, once she is alone, we get another at the door. She's back. She's back. She's back, asking for Tamara. And that's, I don't know. Even then, I was like, this is not good. I just remembered that, like, this is not good.
See, the second knock, you call the police, then it's like, okay, this is now harassment. This is weird. They've already told this idiot that there's no Tamara here.
This is not okay.
And this is why you should have answered the door the first time.
Yeah, so Kristen kind of gets terrorized here. The chimney flue gets closed on her, so, the house starts to fill with smoke.
Isolating her further from
the smoke alarm goes off. I love the cell phone though. That was like very much put it in 2008 for me. I was like,
Oh yeah, the flip
that's
phone.
cute.
Classic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a call.
Right? There needs to be a call. I've got a phone. But this is where this moment happens, and it is one of the creepiest shots.
He just kind of crawls out from the dark. Oh,
But that's the problem. He's just there, and there's no music. The thing that's so, I think, effective about it is that there is no musical sting or anything. She's in the frame, and then all of a sudden he's in the frame with her, and she has no idea.
oh God,
Like, that is the scariest thing to me. I don't know why.
there's no creaking.
Well, it upset Katie's peas at the time. Like, you know, even they knew some shit was going down.
Oh God, it's so upsetting. Like, how did he get
And then all of a sudden, as I was saying to Katie, all of a sudden the camera starts to do some interesting, like the camera gets unsteady and it starts to pulse and all that kind of thing. Yeah, we go for it. It starts to autofocus.
that?
We get it's like a visceral reaction from the camera to what's happening too, which is really, really cool. Everything's been a nice steady shot. Oh yeah, I just like.
Oh no, it makes your stomach turn like immediately. It's like oh.
But
no.
even worse, right? The thing is, when she sees the smoke alarm that she's knocked down onto the floor, sitting on the chair.
Yep.
I would die.
No, I'd be.
I would probably just have a massive heart attack on the spot and just be dead on the ground.
I think I don't even think I'd be thinking. I'd just be running. Like I think I'd.
Because you know that fell. Like you know that fell.
It would be.
I think the old me would be like, I would be still really scared. Trust me, like the shit's going down. But I would be arming myself to the teeth at this point. I'm like, no, you're gonna die, bitch, not me. You little blonde bitch.
No, it would be a death sprint for me. It would be a channeling those track and field days and running.
Yeah, this is the start. This is the
got
start
a good
of the
sports
shit.
bra, bub.
The shit hitting
Black
the
eyes
fan
for
because
Not
then
even thinking about it.
then she goes for her phone, and the phone's gone.
Oh.
Like someone's in the house. I don't like that. I can't imagine. It makes my body react. You know, like that feeling.
In the house.
You know, yeah, it's
And
very.
you'd know too, like if they're sneaking around and doing that stuff too, they're not there to rob you or anything. Like some bad shit's gonna happen, right?
Girl. It's
and she's
It's hitting all those spots where you're like running upstairs instead of out the door. It's just like, oh,
and just
God.
that the realization that Liv Tyler, like her performance, that it is that slow build of going, oh my God, that wasn't there before. Oh my God, the phone's gone. All those fucking bangs of shit getting thrown at windows and stuff just catch you out of nowhere. She arms herself finally, but then when she opens that curtain and that mask's there, that is full force, code red, diarrhea all over the floor moment. Like
they call them a code brown.
Yeah,
in the hospital world.
I would shit that hard there'd be blood.
Okay, so you would have a code red, girls. All right.
Code red.
You'd have a little anal aneurysm, would you, sweet?
I would. As if you wouldn't. I mean, there's nothing worse in movies, and like just when you suddenly turn around, there's someone there. You're like, and then she comes out of there, and that front fucking door is open that she locked from the inside. It's like
run at it, run straight at it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And she goes further into the house. All these dumb choices.
I know, but
these women.
I just don't know. Like, if that door was, I would just crap. I would just like.
It's awesome. That's all you can do in these movies.
Yeah, I would. She closes the door, and then Dollface is sitting there looking back at her. You know, she manages
So
to
what
get
were
to
the three masks again? Because I haven't refreshed recently.
Okay, so
like I'm
it's a
going.
So
on.
we'll talk. I want to talk
Okay.
about the masks in just a sec. So
Okay.
she locks herself in the bedroom, but they are inside that fucking house because
No.
they're banging on walls. They're like
Oh God,
they're
give me just chills.
fucking. They're in that house, and then
They're gonna get you.
the music stops,
Mm.
and she hears the footsteps coming up the hallway.
Mm.
I was like, I remember being in the cinemas, just holding on to the fucking seat press, going, "Bitch, you gonna die right now." Only to find James has returned home. So we're gonna have a break in the tension now. As Luke was just saying, I think a big part of this is obviously the acting,
No.
but another part of it are these masks. I mean, they are creepy. So you've got Dollface, which is the one to the left. You've got the Sack Man, and then you've got the Pin-Up Girl.
Yeah.
And they're just like human, but not human.
No.
You know, like enough, just creepy enough to be really unsettling. And I think that they go a big way into pushing that fright level further. So Kristen's at this point, justifiably scared shitless, and he doesn't believe her straight away.
They never
Do you
know.
agree?
Yeah.
I think he believes that she saw like the girl that they've like been talking to, but I don't think he believes that she saw the guy in the mask.
Until he goes outside.
Yes. But,
Until he goes outside, the car that he just drove has been
typical
fucked
male,
up.
typical gaslighting son of a bitch.
And sees
And let's be
Dollface
honest, they
watching.
come back from a
watching
wedding
him.
reception. They may have been a little bit inebriated still. So, things don't really register.
I'm just teasing. And then there's
Oh,
But look,
but,
they
then there's
do make-
who is a constant stream of shit through the house.
They do make a smart decision and try and leave, but the strangers are one step ahead of them, and ram them with that big old truck and force them back into the house. It's like, oh, okay, they tried to do the smart thing, props, but you still got fucked up. Like, you are not
But
gonna
the thing
make
is,
it.
they tried to do the smart thing about 3 steps too late.
Yeah, but look, I am willing, as horror fans, we can suspend our disbelief a certain amount, like, especially
And,
at 4
and let's
o'clock
be
in the
honest,
morning after you've been in a
these
wedding.
aren't the dumbest. These aren't the dumbest victims or survivors in a horror film. Like we've
No,
seen some real
not-
dumb stuff.
No, they're not the dumbest.
Not that
ones,
we've come
but-
across. And I think what makes it really interesting and it keeps that tension is there's always something happening in the background in this movie. Like they'll be darting through the woods and you won't see who it is. Or, there's someone sitting on the swing set. They're
I
just out of shot.
I liked the use of the music as
Yeah.
covering their tracks.
Yeah, right.
I liked that a lot. It was efficient, and it was unnerving because you knew what it was doing.
Yeah, anytime you hear the music, oh, for fuck's sake, something's going to
Oh
happen.
God, it's
Something's going to happen.
Oh God.
But it was really, it kept you off kilter as well because you didn't know what was going to happen when.
Mhm.
Like, yes, they've just been pretty much bombarded back into the house. They get the shotgun, which is amazing. They do the right thing.
Except
They do
he-
the right thing.
Except he admits he doesn't know how to load it or use it. But
Well, we
he
find out
pulls
very soon that he does know how to
who in
use
his
it.
room who can load a shotgun and use one? I've never had to. I can do it really good in Fortnite. But I just press the button.
he pulled it together.
Yeah,
And because-
I have shot a shotgun. I've never put one together.
Listen, he pulled it.
Oh, I've
together
shot
because
one actually. I have, but I never put it together, and it was already ready to go.
James
Yeah.
pulled it together because
And they hurt. They hurt like a mofo. Like in the movies when you see like
Recoil.
little people just like shooting shotguns at people and running along, I'm like, that's not real because that landed me on my ass nearly when I shot it.
That
You know,
recoil, baby.
our friend in the sack mask comes through all here's Johnny on him, and he
Yeah.
definitely came through with the
Pumps one
shotgun.
out. Yeah. Pumps one out. I thought, oh, that's a good one. But
I gotta be honest.
Oh, it's a good one.
After
exactly.
fucking hate you. After he admitted that he didn't know how to load.
And then he certainly knows how to discharge it. Let's put it that way. As bang, and as
prematurely.
as poor Mike finds out, poor Mike was trying to do the right thing. Mike's trying to be a good buddy, and this is where the extended scene happens, because in the theatrical cut, does the sack face guy follow Mike around the house?
Yes. He ominously follows him.
I think it's a bit longer in the theatrical cut, because he is behind him. But as soon as he gets in the house, he's behind him with his fucking axe going.
Yeah, he's following him, and then the music stops, and
Music stops,
and Mike
gets
Mike gets got, and Sackhead is mysteriously missing.
Yeah, and that scene, I thought that part was played really well too. When he goes, like, after I've shot someone, oh my god, and he knows he shot someone because there's blood everywhere. Why wasn't he wearing a mask? Why wasn't he wearing a mask?
Yeah, he wasn't. He said that he wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing a mask.
Why was he? Yeah. Oh, they realize he's shot his fucking best friend in the head with a shotgun. They're obviously very fucking traumatized at this point. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah, I'd say, like, if the wedding wasn't off before, it's not happening now. Like, there's just too much now.
I know there's trauma bonding, but there's also trauma like, holy fuck. What the hell?
I can't remember now. Did they ever go after his phone?
Yeah, it happens at the end. I'm going to talk to you about that because I can't remember what happens in the cut. So, Mike, wait, am I in the wrong? Oh, there's cat ass everywhere. Cat ass.
Traitors.
James.
See, they know we're talking about the movie again. See, it's got them hooked.
They're traitors.
James remembers that there is a radio transmitter, of course, outside in the ominously dark shed/barn. So he leaves her in the house. I don't know. If this was happening to me, the last thing I would be doing is splitting up.
You don't split up in a horror movie.
You don't split up.
You don't.
When you know now it's for real.
Yeah.
It's for real. I'll just go and investigate that strange noise. Like, there's shit going on there.
Pretty sure Randy Meeks established this rule back in '96. Yeah. Did he not?
He did, but
he did.
I know he got too, but
James is trying to be a hero, trying to be the man, trying to be the man, and thinks he can take Pin-Up Girl when he comes across her in the backyard, only to be, knocked unconscious by the sack-headed man in the mask. And the shotgun goes off, which, makes Kristen react. She runs to the barn. Now,
what did she trip over?
I don't know, but whatever, it fucking hurt, because I felt that in my shins.
I did too, but like, at first I thought she got caught in a trap, and I was just kind of reeling, and then I realized there's nothing there, and I thought, you clumsy bitch.
I think it must be something like, I have a very, I don't know, when I was at school, we were doing a cross-country down on this little, like, field that they'd nominated, and there was a big bit of rebar sticking out of and I ran into that. So I liken that pain. I'm like, I feel that pain. I'm like, oh god, my shins.
It's very possible.
I've got a terrible shin injury as well. Like, I fell down a thing at school. I got pushed, actually. We and this boy were like play fighting, and we both fell down this garden bank. And we were children. and the garden was built on like a cement block, so my shin came down on the cement block here. I might be able to show you the scar. Like, I don't know if you can see. It's somewhere there. Like, it's a long. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I see
So
it.
it's along the shin. Like, it was scraped to the bone. It was awful. And I just remember the pain as a child. I still remember it now. So when she fell,
And it's pain that makes you feel sick. Like it's that pain that goes. "Ugh."
It's
Oh, that
very
hurts.
possible they could have like dug a hole for her to.
Yeah, something happens. I just remember I feel pain every time that bit happens. I go, oh god.
I mean,
So
later on she stops limping. You catch it real quick, and then she starts limping again.
Yeah. Well, it could be adrenaline. Adrenaline does good things here. You know, it
Fair enough.
dulls those pain receptors sometimes. But I didn't realize how tense this barn scene was either, because I was trying to watch this last night at an odd hour, so I had it turned up, but I had the subtitles on as well, and it's like creaking floor. I'm like, oh shit!
Always have
Like-
subtitles on.
Like it's so you underestimate, and watching it with the subtitles really kind of brought it forward to me. Those people knew every inch of that space, so you know what I mean. They knew what they had every intention of hunting people in that space. They knew ins and outs of the buildings. They knew all that kind of stuff, and that is scary.
That's
That is some scary shit.
it's very
a little bit psycho.
well, you know what I was thinking? It's a different genre, but did you ever see that Jennifer Lopez movie Enough, where she learns like the ins and outs of the house so she can effectively fight her abusive husband?
I
Yeah.
never watched it.
I do.
I never
No,
watched
enough.
it. So
Yeah.
I know she'd had enough.
Well, it's kind of like that. Like she knew like every crevice of that house. She knew where everything was sitting in that house. So it's kind of like that. Like they knew where everything was, so they could
And of course,
effectively attack. Them.
On theme with this movie, as soon as the radio comes to life, it gets fucking axed. You're like, just like when James comes home and they're looking for the phone and the phone's melting in the fucking fireplace. You're like, what is this life? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's fucked up.
That's a beautiful scene though. It's like, oh, that's such a sense of dread that you just want to really instill in the audience. Like, she's fucked. It's over. No survivors.
Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of, we're getting close to the point, no pun intended, the pointy end of the thing where Kristen is basically out there by herself and watching the carnage take place. They've set the car on fire. There is no escape. She's crippled. She's out there getting taunted by this woman with a fucking knife until, you know, old mate comes and gets her again. He's just like this big brutish like animal.
He's the muscle.
He's the muscle. Definitely knocks her out, drags her. Now this is the dragging was a lot too, through the blood, like down the hallway, and her trying to fight to stay conscious was like, oh my god, you can do it. But this is I don't this turnabout when the sun comes up. You're like, the nightmare's usually over. Like, do you know what I mean? The nightmare is usually over when the sun comes up in these movies, but the sun comes up
And they take
the
their
windows
masks
get
off.
open and they take off their fucking masks. Now, originally, we were meant to see them. We were meant to see their faces in the original edit of the movie. We were meant to see their faces, and they were meant to get dressed in James and Kristen's clothes and leave.
Why did they cut that
And
out?
let them
Is
live?
it because they didn't want to identify the actors?
No, they said people didn't like seeing their faces, and I think it is so much more powerful
No, I agree.
not seeing their
it's scarier.
faces and watching those two actors react to seeing their faces and knowing what that means.
Yeah, because if they can see them, they know they're not going to live.
They know they're not leaving. Like, they know that they're not leaving this house alive. And
Exactly.
just the two different portrayals, like Scott Speedman's character, he knew, like, as soon as he was captured, he knew how this is going to end, and she's still fighting. She's still trying to bargain with them to, you know, to stop, to go, for them to leave. And again, probably the most disturbing part of this movie. Why are you doing this? Because you were home.
Oh,
because you were home. I've got goosebumps even thinking about it. It is so scary just to think it could have been anyone. If you didn't
answer the fucking door, maybe you would have lived.
It could have been anyone. Do you know what I mean? It didn't have to be them, but it could have been anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they get really stabbed. They get real stabbed. They get really stabbed.
Really, really stabbed.
And for a horror, I don't think it's gratuitous though.
No, it's not. It was worse because it was just so by that point, it was almost like shooting a fish in the barrel.
It's psychological torture at that point.
It wasn't even gratuitous.
They knew it was going to happen.
Nope, it was just deep, efficient stabbing because they were just making it count.
Yeah, and the thing, and it wasn't fast, it wasn't frenzied, it wasn't manic, it was slow and methodical, and that's the scariest. That's so scary.
Mm-hmm.
And her, both of them, having it happen to each other while they're watching is just so sadistic and so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's disturbing on another level. I am not part of the torture porn vibe that went through, but this is different. Do you agree?
Yeah,
well, one hit harder because it didn't need to be. Yeah, it didn't need to be visually grotesque. It was psychologically grotesque.
And it wasn't. But it was. That's the thing. It wasn't. It wasn't visually grotesque. You could see them stabbing them, but we're not looking at organs and stuff. We're looking at the reaction.
That's the difference between torture porn. You're seeing them stab, but you're not. You're seeing the blood, but you're not seeing the blood. You're not seeing the gore. You're not seeing it's not gratuitous. It's not you're not seeing it's not that's not the focus. The focus is the pain.
No, it makes you focus on the actor's performance even more.
Right, you see them getting stabbed, but you're focusing on Scott Speedman, and you're focusing on Liv Tyler. You're focusing on their pain. You're focusing on them dying. You're focusing on how upset they are. You're focusing on the agony. It's not the main.
I still remember complete silence in the cinema after that because you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
And we cut to the the car driving away. This is where it was different, Katie. This is where things changed. Okay, so in the theatrical cut, they after everyone's stabbed, you cut to the shot of the strangers driving away in their truck.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few daytime shots, and in the unrated version, Kristen regains consciousness.
Oh,
what?
And heavily bloodied and tortured, but sees Mike's phone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Crawls towards it, dials the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Next minute, old mate's there behind her, just kneeling down watching. Yep. Turns her over, and all she it's even worse. It's really heartbreaking because all she can do is just shield herself.
Oh God.
That's all she does.
Oh, that's too much.
And he picks up the phone and walks away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he picks up the phone and walks away, and then we go to the shot of the car driving away.
Oh, so he doesn't even stab her again?
No, she's just because she's bleeding from the mouth. She's fucked up. She's well and truly fucked up. Yeah. So it's real. Yeah, it's real pathetic. It's real pathetic. All she's doing is whimpering and shielding her face. It's real disturbing. It's oh God. So the strangers come across two Christian bicyclists delivering the word of God. One of the boys talks into the truck and says, "Are you a sinner?" To which
Sometimes.
Dollface says, "Sometimes."
Oh God.
And as they drive away, the pit-up girl says, "It'll be easier next time."
That just goosebumps.
Yep, it'll be easier next time. That was pretty easy for him that time. So
No
these
joke.
young boys then arrive at the house. So the original, after the John Larroquette beginning, and the phone call. This is where the movie picks up from the beginning.
Yeah.
And they discover the crime scene, and obviously dead Scott Speedman, and obviously dead Mike. But in the very last seconds, Kristen comes alive screaming as we go to black and credits roll. That last section, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, it was not okay. The fact that she was still alive, I'm like, oh my God.
Speaking of not okay, those boys are definitely not okay.
Oh, yeah. They'll be trauma bonded for life. It's like, okay, cool. No
That
worries.
therapy bill is going to be
And look, the determination it takes. But you do read about that, like people that survive these fucking horrible, horrible attacks from serial killers.
Yeah.
I just cannot. So let's talk a little bit about the impact that The Strangers had, because it did pretty damn well, ladies and gentlemen. Off a $9 million budget, which is next to nothing, really, for a Hollywood movie.
For an American film, yeah.
For an American film. It dominated. It made $82.4 million at the box office, this movie. So it's become a cult classic, and I think doesn't get the recognition it deserves. There's a lot of people that haven't seen this movie. When I talk about it, I'm like, have you seen The Strangers? They're like, no, what's that? I'm like, oh, what? Where were you in 2008? Where were you? I know where I was, traumatized by this damn movie. This movie does for staying home alone what, the Blair Witch Project did for camping. It's just like, no.
What Jaws
No.
did going swimming.
Not okay.
Yeah.
Anytime I always have it in the back of my mind, anytime in like some kind of at least rural area, I'm like, this is the time. This is it. I'm like, oh God. But yeah, I'm gonna go first and give it 3 serial killer masks out of 3. I think this is almost a perfect movie. Like it does everything it says it does. Like even the title, The Strangers, is interesting enough to make you want to watch the movie. The acting from Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler, phenomenal. She can scream like no one's business, but with a dad like
it's not a Liv Tyler kind of movie, right? Like we just saw that thing you do and things like that. So obviously the script was solid because this was a departure from her usual roles. I'm sure her agent wasn't going, yes, do it. I reckon she wanted to do it, but I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah. So the other 2 people that had expressed interest in that role were Tandy Newton and Charlize Theron.
No.
Oh, Charlize.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh, I think Charlize would have done it well, but I think Liv was the one that was like,
this belongs to her. Yeah, like
yeah.
The fates and whatever got it right, and Scott Speedman was fantastic in this movie. Like, even for the scenes that aren't horror related, like they are brilliant together. And I think there's a lot to be said for the people that played the Strangers as well. One of them was Australian, Gemma Ward. She was a model turned actress, but they all did an amazing job on making this, a night to remember. Katie, what about you? What are you going to give it? What's the rating for you?
Oh, God, 3 out of 3.
What are we rating it out of first? Out of
scary silicone.
3 out of 3 masks. Oh, yeah, 3 out of 3. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie. Like, oh, God.
Fuck this movie.
Oh, God, it's still scary. It's like, I know, like, when we, like, reference it. We're like, that movie is scary. And I say, yeah, that was a scary movie. But I forgot how scary this movie is. I mean, God,
Yeah.
it is so effectively scary in such a simple way without having to use all these like really CGI or like,
music.
I just
They don't rely on music stings or anything like that.
no,
It's
and
just
it doesn't have
well
to be
crafted.
it doesn't have to be super gory or super bloody. It's just really simple. It sticks to the basics and it's effective. And God, it's scary. And it's so scary because it's such a realistic scenario. It's a bunch of home invasion. It's a home invasion. It's a bunch of people breaking into your house because they wanted to break into your house. A bunch of psychos.
And just because you happen
They
to
wanted
be
to
there.
do you harm. Yeah, they
Right.
want to do someone harm.
Right.
It
And
could have
Liv
been
Tyler
anyone.
actually had tonsillitis while filming this. So that bitch was screaming with a sore throat.
She did well. She did,
She did
very,
very
very well.
well.
Luke, what about you? Serial Killer
I
Mask, is that a
will-
3?
I will concur with Katie. 3 out of 3 serial killer masks. I think this film really is a jewel in the crown, is what I was trying to say, of this kind of genre. Like, it's got everything right. It's got solid performances, great pacing, great build of tension. I don't think you could really fault this film. There's nothing that you would do differently. I think they really got it right. And yeah, I don't. If this is like something that you can tolerate, because I don't think a lot of people can sit through a movie like this either.
No, I don't think. No.
Yeah, like I know if it was someone like my mother, she'd be tapped. Tapped out when that bitch knocks at the door.
It is very
Camera home. Nope. Over.
it is very emotionally draining. So yeah.
Yeah,
like-
it's draining. It is. It's a draining movie, and I think this is the way I was thinking about it last night. For every time that Scream pulled away for a joke or for like a pop culture reference, this movie goes harder.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like Scream's bigger sister in that kind of way. Like Scream is like there are genuine
Scream made
moments.
like yeah, but
There are
Scream
genuine
kept
moments
it
of tension
light.
in Scream, but they like Scream goes, haha, tension joke. Okay, cool, relax. Oh my god, mystery. This one just starts at like 7 and you're at 10 within like not even 20 minutes.
This
into
is like
the
a
movie, and it
feature
holds
film
you-
of the Drew Barrymore scene from Scream.
Well,
It
From
holds
start.
you there.
Scream is pastel goth. The Strangers is just goth.
Yes, and look, it became a cult classic, but we had to wait 10 years for a sequel. 10 whole years. And the whole reason that we're talking about these movies now is because this was announced recently. A sequel, but not 1, not 2, but the Strangers trilogy. All 3 new movies. All 3 new movies are coming this year. Now, we don't know a lot about these new movies at all. They have been
Is
filmed
Liv
back to back.
Tyler in any of them?
Well, we
Do we
don't know.
know?
There has been a small scene that has been released. The star of this movie is Madeline Pesht from Riverdale. For those of us that she plays Cheryl Blossom on Riverdale.
Oh,
For those,
Babe.
she's a great actress. She is
Babe.
hot. She's hot. But she's also a fantastic actress. And the
Liv
only
Tyler
thing that
hot.
has been, there's been a couple of shots of the Strangers, and there's been one scene with her that is very reminiscent of the kitchen, that first kitchen scene in the still that we've shown. So
Katie's favorite scene.
this is coming in May, folks. So we're edging you towards the first installment. So if you enjoyed The Strangers Part 1, 2008, please join us again when we discuss Strangers Prey at Night. But until then, lock the doors, baby. Grab your shotgun,
the curtain is
and
moving.
No. Now I can hear the
Make
fan
sure.
spinning in the other room. I'm like, is it me who turned it on?
make sure Tamara is not home. Keep it creepy, folks.